Hey, that's okay. How are you doing? Yeah, how are you feeling like you're recovering? I know it is such an adjustment, and like her schedule still is changing all the time, probably. And yeah. But I mean, yeah, that's the important thing is like you're moving when you can. Are you feeling like you are getting stronger again, like especially like in the core? Yeah, yeah. And I mean, that's really okay. I guess, how many times a week do you think you're getting in some type of exercise? Okay. Okay. That's good. I mean, honestly, the steps is going to be huge in terms of like just feeling like, you're kind of getting back to like the weight and like just like the aerobic capacity that you want and just getting outside even. So that part is awesome. And then the strength stuff, like one time a week is good. I mean, ideally two eventually, but I think with what you're doing, um, honestly, like at the stage you're in, that's good. Yeah. And so it's like it'll just keep getting better, but as long as you can kind of keep at it and move forward, it's not going to look perfect and consistent for a while probably, but that's okay. And it just takes like a little bit of like that mental shift. Um, it's very challenging. Um, Newborns is tough. And I think as in the newborn phase, it looks more like I'll do 10 minutes here, 10 minutes there, 10 minutes there, rather than all at once, which can be kind of a helpful thing to think about. Um, and that's kind of one strategy to use. But it's tough. It like consistent is really hard. It's really about fitting it in when you can, which it sounds like you're trying to do, which is good. No, that doesn't work for everybody. Sometimes I think it's hard at the newborn stage. I think as they get a little older and can kind of understand a little bit more, that is a strategy because I think I sort of did that with my daughter a little bit like, no, this is what I'm doing right now. You are fine. You have to be okay. Um, but then there's like, okay, like go kiss and hug a little bit and then go back, get a couple more sets in and then go kiss and hug a little bit. So you'll find your way. Yeah. But every kid is different too. So, uh, um, I want to say it didn't really happen until like 4 or 5 months where it was like a little bit more consistent. And I think I started with her, like I would just like prop her up like on the floor next to me and I'd kind of do stuff and my workouts were still probably only like 20, 30 minutes. But then she was fine kind of laying there and I'd kind of have to like make her laugh and stuff. It's like when you can engage with them a little bit more, it becomes a little easier. Because even if like I'm not picking her up, she like sees my eye contact and stuff. I feel like as a newborn, that part's still a little bit hard. So it's unless you're like holding her, it's very hard to kind of comfort her. So I think you're probably getting close to that stage, but probably not quite there yet. So now it is like, yeah, if I have 10 minutes, like try to get something in. And I think that's okay because eventually it changes. It probably feels like right now it's not going to, but it will. Yeah. But I think you're doing great. I mean, the walking honestly is great. You're getting like one strength workout in. We're going to do some good core stuff today. So it's just going to all keep building. As long as you're still, like I said, as long as you're kind of feeling like you're moving forward, then you'll get there. All right. So let's start on the ground and uh, we're going to do kind of like a little bit of like a Pilates type slow, focused on core and stuff to start. So here you're gonna go opposite arm and leg. You're gonna pause, 1, 2, and then come down, and same thing on the other side. 1, 2, and down. So I'll have you work through a few of those. Yep. And if you're out walking, one strategy too, if she likes being in the stroller, is just, like maybe every few blocks or something, like you could do a set of legs, like lunges, squats or something, and then keep walking while she's because I did find that my daughter was way more entertained outside, like being able to look at things. So I did work out a lot outside. Yeah, it's funny that you say that though. I actually did a lot in Washington Square. I'm gonna have you come down and press up into a back extension, because I was taking her to like this baby class at Hall Mercer, which like at Pennsylvania Hospital, and then I would go to Washington Square, I'd get coffee at Tallulah's, and then I'd like walk around the square. And I'd use the benches for stuff and like hook bands up. And I felt like, you know what, I probably look crazy, but I'm gonna do it. You're gonna now come down, and you're gonna have forehead on the mat, right arm, left leg, left arm, right leg, and trying to get your low back. And then I actually had like some moms that when I used to go do in-home stuff that lives in that area, and I would take them to the square too. Yeah, it was like a yes, yeah. Uh-huh. Oh, really? Wasn't sure if they were still doing it again, because I know they kind of stopped like with the pandemic. I'm glad they started again. And then like sometimes like me and some of the moms from that group, we would go like just walk for walks together. So now I'm gonna have you come up into a forearm and knee plank. And you're just gonna hold. And does this feel like you can keep your abs contracted while you're breathing normally? Okay, good. And we're gonna kind of work our way into other things. So we'll just stay here about another 10 seconds. Oh, yes, that is true. That is really true. Yeah, that is hard. I kind of forgot about that. You're gonna come on to your back now, and you're gonna start with your legs in tabletop position, and you're gonna go down, down, up, up. And so trying to just keep that bracing in your abs the whole time. Yeah, that does make it really, really tough with the heat. Yeah, but that's so good that you're doing it though, because that is honestly really, it's just, I mean, it's good and like mental, physical health, all of it. And like it's the easiest kind of postpartum exercise to get in. So yes, it's good. How old is she now? Okay. I bet you'll feel a little differently in the next like month or so, like with being able to do a little bit more. And then here you're going to come up to seated position, and opposite pinky to pinky finger to pinky toe, side to side. And this is more just like a back stretch. And are you working full time? Uh, okay. Yep. Good. You're gonna come back down to a plank again, and then this time you're going to do a leg lift. So you're gonna stay on the same leg, lift, lower, lift, lower. So you're gonna feel a little bit of abs, and you'll also feel your left hip working, maybe your right glute a little bit. Yeah, so I imagine that'll be a little more challenging too to find time then. And you're gonna go one more, and then I'm gonna have you roll on to let's have you go onto your right side. You're gonna go both arms overhead, the right leg's a little bit bent, and then exhale, inhale, bringing that top leg forward, but without letting your bottom side of your body move so much. So you have to really anchor that leg into the floor. So this is just a little bit of like the ab stability. Yep. Has walking felt okay on your body? Like you're not getting any like knee pain, hip pain, anything like that, back pain? Yeah. Okay, good. You're going to go one more, and then I'll have you go back to that plank and we'll do the other side with the leg lift. Good. And we'll go two more there, and then you can go to the other side for that side kick. Ah, yep. Oh, that is very hard. Yeah, that's tough, but I think that it's good that because he's not going to feel it's important unless like you're making it important. So I think that's good that you know, making time for yourself. Well, there she is. She looks bigger, longer. Uh-huh. All right, so I'm gonna have you now go on to your back, and you're gonna go arms up and then bridge position. And then from here, you're gonna take one leg and you're gonna see if you can bring it up for like a little bit of a hamstring stretch, and then a lower, and then up and lower. So the leg that's on the ground, you're using like your glutes a lot. And then, so you'll stay on the same leg the whole time. And you'll just lower it up and down without setting it down on the ground. You're just going to keep it straight. And so now you'll just lower your heel a little bit and then, yep, back up. So your goal is to see if you can keep your hips lifted and level. This is a hard one. Ah, okay. Do you feel like you're able to use like your left hip and glute to support? Or try it maybe with your arms on the floor and like maybe a little support from that. Is that okay? We'll just go two more there. It's a tougher one, so we're not going to do a lot of them. And then I'll have you just do the same thing on the other side. Yep, you can do the other side right away. Good. And we'll go two more there. And then you are going to come up with the legs. You're still going to try to get a little bit of like a hamstring stretch. You're going to grab like your shin calf area and switch, switch. And as you're up, you're trying to keep your abs just engaged too. So belly button to spine the whole time. Yep. Does that feel okay in your neck? Okay. Yep. Just keep the abs going. Good. And we'll go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. and then you're gonna come on to one side and you're gonna press up through your legs and lift your hips and then reach all the way over. So I'm trying to lift my rib cage as high as possible and then come back down and then reach over, but definitely making sure that you're pressing through the legs rather than all in your arms. Yeah, good. That looks good. So you're gonna go 2 more there. And then you're gonna stay on that same side, but you're gonna come up so that your knee and hip are lined up and that your shoulder and wrists are lined up. And then you're gonna lift, lower, lift, lower. So you'll get a little bit of inner thigh stretching here. We're not gonna do a ton of these, but you'll start to activate the glutes a little bit. So you're gonna do 3 more and then hold the leg up. So it's gonna be 3, 2, 1. And then from here, that same leg kick. So you're going to kick forward and back. And so this is a little bit about the stability of that bottom hip. So you're trying not to let it shift too much. Yep. Good. We'll go 1 more. And then before we shift to the other side, you're going to do a set of push-ups where that your knees and hips are lined up. Inhale as you fall, exhale as you come up. Good. Yep, let your hips fall just a little bit more with it. Yeah, there you go. We'll go 2 more. Nice, and then we'll go to the other side, starting with the reach and side plank there. Good. Yep. And we'll get 3 more. All right, and then let's go into this one again. So lining this part of your leg up and your arm up, lift and lower, keeping your chest nice and open. And this is another one where you should feel most of the weight in your legs. So I'm not really putting too much pressure into my arm. Good. And we'll go 3, 2, and hold. And then again, exhale forward, inhale back. And keeping that weight in your legs still. And we'll go 1 more like that. And then you're going to go back onto your back, bringing your legs up. You're just going to lower them a little bit and doing a flutter kick here. So keeping the abs engaged. And if you want, you can see if it feels better with your head up in terms of getting more abs, whatever feels good. Looks good. Yep. Keep breathing. And you're going to go for 4, 3, 2, 1. And then I'm going to have you flip to a high plank. And here you're going to do an alternating leg lift with a little bit of like a glute squeeze as you're lifting. Yeah, that looks good. Good. You're going to get 1 more. And then I'm going to have you go into a seated position. So with this position, you're going to have your fingertips just kind of lightly on the ground. Back is nice and long. You're leaning back a little bit and you're going to up and down, alternating each side. And you're kind of focused on the lower abs squeezing as your legs coming up. And if that's too easy, you can go up, up, down, down. Yeah, and that forces them to work a little bit more. Good. Yep. You're going to go total of 1 more each side. And then I'm gonna have you go last time onto all fours here. And just a little bit of back mobility with pelvic floor stuff. So here, pelvic floor is relaxed. And then you're gonna exhale, contract pelvic floor. And then inhale, relax. Exhale, contract. Good. And then we're gonna do a little bit for your back before we stand. So with this one, you are gonna have your forehead on the mat, fingertips behind your ears, and you're gonna lift the elbows up and then lift up and then come all the way down, drop the elbows. So it's a squeeze, lift, down, down. Yep. Good. And we go 3 more like that. And then I'm gonna have you grab, let's go with the red band around your ankles. So we're gonna do a little bit of a glute and leg series. So you're gonna start with you're gonna go out, out, in. So starting to just build up through the hips. Yep. How did the core stuff feel? Okay. Yeah. Okay, well, that's good. I'm glad it felt challenging, but because you looked very controlled. So I'm glad that it was challenging, but like you could feel it. Yeah. Oh, that's good. And then from here, I'm going to have you kind of just slight bend. You're going to tap back. So from the side, it looks like that. Kind of a diagonal tap back. So you're really working the planted front leg a little bit more. Yep. Good. So don't let that planted knee go forward. Just kind of hold it almost like a deadlift position. Yeah, like that. Good. Yep. You're going to go 4, 3, 2, 1, and then kind of keeping it burning. You're going to go into those shuffles side to side. So even something like this, like if you throw a band in your stroller and take 5 minutes when you guys are like stopped somewhere and just do like a series like this, that could be good. And then, like if you do that in your morning walk and just take like 5-10 minutes, and then maybe later in the day, if you have another 5-10 minutes, then you could do something more like upper body related at home. And then here you're going to go wide stance with little squat pulses. Because you can probably feel the burn here a little bit. So if you did that a couple times throughout your walk, maybe like right when you start, in the middle, and then at the end, you can get 3 good sets in. Yes. Yeah, no, like a bonus. I get it. So this is the last part of the hips. No, I know. Yeah. I think that's good that you recognize it as a success. It's like there's like this expectation that we put on ourselves and other people put on us that we should be able to kind of do it all. But it's like, well, why? There's so much, not just like physically to do, but mentally to keep track of. And like it's exhausting to be able to do all of it. I know. Yeah. There's a lot of pressure for that upfront too. You're gonna now do fingertips behind your ears and these good mornings. Yeah, for me, I really had to kind of just shift. I think it's easier for me to say it now because I see how my daughter is now, but I think the effort of like having her see you make time for yourself and that like health and exercise is important. I think like those are all really good lessons too, because now she very much values it. And she'll even say, like, should we do this? And should we do something active? And but you don't really see the results of that till later. So you still feel the guilt right away. But now I'm like, oh, I'm glad I did it. All right. So I'm going to have you take the band off and then I'm going to have you sit on your couch and I want to get a glute stretch in. And yeah, she's still so young now, but I think have been able to stay consistent are the ones that ended up having to juggle having their kids there watching them work out. And now I see their kids like, so there's like a couple moms, for example, like the kids will come down to the basement where they're working out with me, like virtually. Um, but they kind of just do their own thing now. Like at first when they started, it was like they were demanding attention. The mom had to go like do this, come back, do this, come back. And they felt like, oh, I'm not really getting a workout in. But now the kids just kind of play and do whatever because they know like, oh, my mom's going to be doing this. But it's really hard to get to that point. But I think if you stay consistent, and I think you're somebody who does value exercise. So I think once she gets a little bit older, it'll become a little bit easier for you to feel okay about making that time. But yeah, she's still very young. Yeah, 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 right. Who is your who's the facilitator? Is it Allison? Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't think I know Karen. But I should reach back out to them. Maybe I should come in and talk to a group because I think it can be hard for new moms. And I used to do that. Like I used to go in and talk to some of the groups again, like before COVID, but maybe you'll actually inspire some people. But yeah, it's hard at that time. So I think, I mean, I honestly think you're doing really, really well. You got right back into it. And I think now it's just a matter of like you mentally being okay with it's not going to be perfect and consistent yet, but to kind of just keep doing what you can. Yeah. And I think, I mean, physically, you're at a good point. Like your core is pretty strong. You're moving forward. You're doing more stuff. So I think that's all good things. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you will absolutely get there. But I think it is amazing how, I mean, even compared probably to pregnancy, like during pregnancy, you're feeling pretty strong. And then something just shifts when your body has to like go back and like the sleep exhaustion and all that plays into it and the change in hormones. But you'll get there. Um, I think for what you're doing now, like 3 months out is good, and you're setting yourself up to where in the next few months, you're gonna start noticing, like, bigger changes in terms of how you feel. Yeah. So, that will definitely get better. I think with you because you're active and you were able to, like, have a strong core before, it will. I think it will get better. The C-section stuff does take a little while, and unfortunately because that skin is sewn so tight, you really do have to be able to stay like any kind of fat down there that you have, like it's more noticeable because of that. But I would say that's not like an instant thing because there's just like the healing and the scar tissue and the skin and stuff like that. But that it does get better. Yep. Yeah, maybe a little less than a year, but I mean, I think it'll be less than a year, but I think even between like 1 and 3 years, it still was improving, even though definitely by a year it looked better, but I definitely noticed for myself and other people, it's like it does like it's a way slower process than you think. I think like at 1 year I was feeling pretty confident with it, but even like looking at year 2 and year 3, I was like, "Oh yeah, now I don't really notice it at all anymore." But I you will see a change before that, but I think it was like, "Oh, I didn't know it was just gonna keep getting better," and it does. Yeah. Even now, even like the scar is lighter and like I don't really pay attention to it that much anymore. So it just continues to like improve. But that first year, I yeah, be gentle with yourself a little bit on that and expect that it'll happen. It's just a little slower. Yeah. 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 I know. But I honestly, I think where you are right now is exactly where you should be. Like you're like on the higher end of the spectrum of like doing really well. So just keep that in mind. I know, I know. Well, thank you for making time today. And sorry if it felt like a little bit of a struggle for that to happen. But yeah, we'll just keep moving forward and doing what we can. Bye.